Andy Thompson is a good man. I appreciate him, and I know him pretty well now. We got stuck together for 3 days, and he's the real deal. So remember, he didn't ask you to, but I am. Vote for Andy Thompson. Now, I don't want to say anything negative about the guy that's running against him, but he says there is no war on coal.
Yeah, right.
Do you get it? He does not know reality any way, shape, or form. We do not need to vote another nice guy who does stupid things into an office in America.
Amen.
And he has some real help, I want to tell you. There's another guy that doesn't. He's not very far from here. I really don't want to say his name, okay? But I want you to understand something, that my wife, Claudine, who is our cheerleader, she's in the middle. She's the cheerleader, okay? On his website, he says he supports the Obama re-election. That is enough for me. I don't need anything else. That's why the next guy that I'm going to introduce happens to be somebody that I respect. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if I don't respect you, I don't vote for you. No. And I'm vocal about it. Now, do you read my hat?
Yeah.
You know there's people who don't like my hat.
Oh, well.
Do you know some people told me they don't like my hat? Some prominent, I'll call them progressives, told me just the other day I should be ashamed of myself. And they asked me, why do you wear a hat like that? I said, to get rid of him.
Yeah.
You asked, I didn't open up the conversation, they did. I want to introduce a friend of mine, a man that I've come to highly respect, one that does a tremendous job. He is in a fight. He needs our support, our help, just like Andy does. They both are having fundraisers. We need to support them. But I want Bill Johnson to come up here. Bill?
I haven't even started speaking yet, and Kelly's already whispered in my ear, 5 minutes, Bill, 5 minutes, Bill. Hey, he just said something. He said that Washington wants to take over your lives.
Yeah, they do.
Believe that?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm not one of them that does. You see, our founding fathers didn't say that Bill Johnson gave you these inalienable rights. He didn't say that Washington gave them to you. He didn't say that Barack Obama gave them to you. He said they were given to you by our Creator.
Amen.
They're yours. And when we talk about joining the fight, what we're talking about is stopping them from taking them away.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about.
Amen.
Last Saturday morning, I stood in Zanesville. It was chilly, and I watched as flags were put out there at the Zanesville airport for every one of Ohio's fallen soldiers. From the Marine Corps, from the Army, from the Air Force, from the Navy, you name it. All of those who have died for the cause of freedom since 2001, September 11th. It was a humbling experience. It reminded me, not that I needed reminding because I served for 26 and a half years myself. But it reminded me that freedom is not free. Those people, those men and women who have given their lives, they fought for freedom. And folks, we've got a war going on right here at home on the coal industry. And anybody who doesn't believe that that is true, all you've got to do is ask the thousands of coal miners that have already lost their jobs.
Yes.
All you got to do is ask the 1,000 more that are in jeopardy of losing their jobs. All you've got to do is ask the American people who are paying on the average $300 more per year to fuel their homes. All you've got to do is ask the companies that are in jeopardy of having to close down because they can't afford the skyrocketing energy prices. If you don't think there isn't a war on coal, all you've got to do is ask the families along the Ohio River that have been impacted by the war on coal, and they'll tell you that it is very, very real. You know, Charlie Wilson is going to go around asking you to pat him on the back for not voting for cap and trade.
He sat silent too, didn't he?
Here's what you need to ask Charlie when he says he didn't vote for cap and trade. Ask him to show one instance. Remember, when did the war on coal start? It started when Obama came into office.
Yes.
Who was in Congress 2009 and 2010? That was Mr. Wilson. Ask him to show you one speech on the House floor when he stood up for coal.
Not one.
Ask him to show you one letter that he wrote to the Secretary of Energy or to his leadership or to the President or anyone else asking them to support the coal industry. Ask him to stand in front of the coal miners and say that he doesn't believe that there's a war on coal. Now, you might not have heard, but we now know why. That Charlie was such an obedient voter for the San Francisco style of politics that Nancy Pelosi represents. You know why? A state senator down in the Cincinnati area said the reason Charlie had to take that tough vote on the health care law was to help his friend, Barack Obama. See, there's a personal relationship there. Charlie's going to try, and he has said on the radio, we don't need to fire Barack Obama and we don't need to stop the war on coal. Charlie doesn't believe that there's a war on coal. He's never stood up for the coal industry, and he's not standing up for the coal industry now. On November 6th, the American people are going to have a clear, unambiguous choice. Do we want to continue with 4 more years of big government, big spending, higher taxes, more government intrusion in our personal lives, more war on coal, more war on the oil and gas industry, more burden, more debt on the backs of our children and our grandchildren? Or do we want to join the fight, elect Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, and let's take America back? Let's reassert individual freedom and liberty and a private sector economy that has kept not only America free, but the world free for many, many, many years. Let's go to work, folks.